Like this great Sansui system with a full-size record changer, these big 3-way 12-inch speaker systems.
So now is the time for all good men to come to the aid of the party.
The 70s college kids were all about the groove. They jammed out to vinyl tunes, hit up concerts, and soaked up the sun playing sports. Amidst the political stir, they stood up for equality alongside marginalized groups. Vietnam's war raged on, but they found solace in simple joys. Hanging out at diners and soda spots with pals was their scene. The era was a mix of activism and leisure, where every college kid sought a balance between fighting for change and finding their fun. So join us as we explore the 13 things every college kid did in the 1970s. Number 1. Participating in political activism. In the 1970s, college campuses were vibrant hubs of political activism, echoing the societal upheaval of the era. While today's college scene may seem comparatively quieter politically, back then, students were deeply involved in various movements and protests, shaping the decade's cultural landscape. One common experience for college kids in the 1970s was participating in political activism. Inspired by the turbulent events of the time, including protest against the Vietnam War, civil rights movements, and environmental activism, many students felt compelled to take a stand on pressing social and political issues. Campuses served as hotbeds for discussions, debates, and demonstrations, with students organizing rallies, sit-ins, and marches to advocate for change. The 1970s marked a stark contrast to the relative calm of the preceding decade, with the enthusiasm of the 1960s still reverberating throughout college campuses. The decade saw a continuation of countercultural movements and political struggles that had defined the preceding years. However, as the 1970s progressed, factors such as a lack of prominent foreign policy threats, economic stability, and disillusionment with past politics contributed to a quieter political atmosphere on campuses. Despite this, the legacy of 1960s activism continued to influence college kids in the 1970s. Many students still felt compelled to engage in political discourse and action, whether through joining activist groups, participating in protest, or attending rallies and teach-ins. The spirit of activism remained alive, albeit in a somewhat subdued form compared to the preceding decade. As the echoes of political fervor quieted on college campuses in the 1970s, a new cultural experience emerged. How did campus film screenings offer a different kind of intellectual and social nourishment? Let's find out. Number 2. Attending campus film screenings. In the 1970s, college life was vibrant and full of unique experiences. One of the things every college kid did during this era was attending campus film screenings. Before the convenience of streaming services like Netflix or Hulu, colleges served as cultural hubs, hosting film screenings that were both popular and avant-garde. These screenings provided students with a valuable social and artistic outlet. During this time, colleges continued to expand their offerings, building upon the momentum of increased attendance that began in the 60s. The surge in college attendance brought about better funding for institutions, allowing them to invest in previously unfeasible programs such as film studies. In fact, the 1960s witnessed a significant rise in the number of film schools across the country. Renowned institutions like the American Film Institute, New York University, Columbia University, Wesleyan University, and the University of Texas at Austin all established dedicated film departments during this period. The 1970s marked the end of Hollywood's golden age. The rise of television and evolving consumer preferences challenged the dominance of major film studios. As a result, studio executives were more open to experimentation and innovation than ever before. Attending campus film screenings was not just about watching movies, it was a communal experience that fostered intellectual curiosity and artistic appreciation. These screenings provided students with opportunities to engage in discussions, explore diverse perspectives, and expand their cultural horizons.
Like this great Sansui system with a full-size record changer, these big 3-way 12-inch speaker systems.
Number 3. Listening to vinyl records in dorm rooms. Back in the 1970s, one of the things every college kid did was gather in dorm rooms to listen to vinyl records on turntables. It was a time when music wasn't just something you listened to, it was a communal experience that brought people together. Students would bring their favorite records from artists like Fleetwood Mac, David Bowie, and Bob Dylan to share with their friends. Listening to vinyl records was more than just a way to pass the time. It was a cultural phenomenon. The lyrics of the songs spoke to the thoughts and feelings of the students, creating a sense of connection and camaraderie. It was a shared experience that fostered a sense of community and belonging. The dorm room gatherings weren't just about the music, they were about human interaction. Spending time together, listening to music, and discussing the latest albums helped build confidence and self-esteem. It was a way for students to learn how to engage in diverse conversations and contribute to discussions with both friends and strangers. These vinyl listening sessions weren't limited to dorm rooms. They were a part of daily life in college. Whether it was in hippie pads, dorm rooms, or houses, music was always present. Students would take turns choosing albums to listen to, and everyone would take the time to appreciate not just the music, but also information about the band members, where the album was recorded, and more. As the sound of vinyl records filled dorm rooms, students bonded over shared melodies and lyrics. But as the music faded, another relic of the past awaited, the typewriter, poised to shape their academic journey.
So now is the time for all good men to come to the aid of the party. Maybe you remember the Old Testament.
Number 4. Using typewriters for term papers. In the 1970s, long before the era of personal computers and laptops, college students relied heavily on typewriters for their academic work. Term papers, or your thesis, were painstakingly typed out on manual or electric typewriters, a process that often involved late-night sessions to meet looming deadlines. Typewriters were more than just tools, they were companions in the writing process. From the rhythmic clattering of keys to the satisfying ding at the end of each line, the typewriter brought a sense of rhythm and melody to the act of writing. Whether it was a student hammering out a term paper or a poet crafting their next masterpiece, the typewriter played an integral role in shaping how written content was produced. Invented in the early 19th century, typewriters offered students speed, efficiency, and legibility, revolutionizing the way written work was created. They laid the groundwork for future technological advancements, including word processors and the ubiquitous QWERTY keyboard layout. College kids in the 1970s weren't just typists, they were skilled practitioners of touch typing, a technique that allowed them to type quickly and accurately without looking at the keyboard. Mistakes were inevitable, but typists had to be meticulous, often relying on correction fluid or tape to fix errors. Typewriters weren't confined to the college campus. They were fixtures in both office settings and homes. They facilitated everything from typing letters to drafting professional documents, fundamentally changing how people composed and produced written content. Number 5. Experimenting with psychedelic art and literature. In the 1970s, college campuses were buzzing with a spirit of experimentation and freedom, and one prominent aspect of this era was the exploration of psychedelic art and literature. Many college students were drawn to the counterculture movement, which embraced unconventional lifestyles and challenged traditional norms. Experimentation with psychedelic drugs, particularly LSD, influenced various forms of artistic expression, leading to a surge in psychedelic art and literature. One common activity among college kids was attending campus art shows. These exhibitions often showcase vibrant and abstract work inspired by hallucinogenic experiences. Students eagerly participated in these shows, marveling at the colorful displays and exploring the boundaries of traditional artistic techniques. Additionally, poetry readings were popular gatherings where students could share their creative writings infused with psychedelic themes. These readings provided a platform for self-expression and encouraged intellectual discourse on topics like consciousness expansion and alternative realities. Literature classes also played a significant role in exposing college kids to psychedelic literature. Students eagerly enrolled in courses that explored the works of authors like Aldous Huxley, Timothy Leary, and Ken Kesey, whose writings often delved into themes of altered states of consciousness and the human psyche. Furthermore, the music of the 1970s, particularly psychedelic rock, served as a soundtrack for the era's cultural revolution. College kids flocked to concerts where they could immerse themselves in the hypnotic sounds and visual displays characteristic of psychedelic performances. As the vibrant canvas of psychedelic art and literature unfolded in the 1970s, how did these experimental vibes influence the embrace of Greek life on college campuses? Number 6. Joining Greek life. In the 70s, college life was vibrant with various activities and cultural shifts, and one of the most notable experiences for many students was joining Greek life. Joining a fraternity or sorority was a common experience for many college students. These organizations played a significant role in college social life, providing opportunities for students to make friends, participate in social events, and engage in community service projects. Fraternities and sororities are groups of students in college who come together to form a social organization. Fraternities are usually for male students, while sororities are for female students. These groups are often based on shared interest, values, or backgrounds. Members of fraternities and sororities participate in various activities together, such as organizing parties, doing community service, and networking with alumni. Additionally, being a member of a fraternity or sorority could provide networking opportunities for students both during and after college. Alumni of these organizations often stayed connected and could help current members with job opportunities or career advice. For Asian American students in particular, Greek life took on a special significance. Asian American fraternities and sororities provided a sense of community and belonging on college campuses, especially in schools where Asian Americans were a minority. These organizations offered support and camaraderie to students who might otherwise feel isolated or marginalized. Number 7. Attending lecture series and guest speaker events. Back in the 1970s, attending lecture series and guest speaker events was a big deal for college students. These events were like magnets, drawing in students from all over campus. Colleges would often invite prominent figures from various fields like politics, literature, and science to speak. These speakers were influential people known for their achievements and ideas that were shaping the world at that time. In politics, students might hear from senators, activists, or even former presidents. These figures would talk about pressing issues like civil rights, the Vietnam War, or environmental conservation. Their goal was to inspire young minds, spark discussions, and ignite a passion for political activism among students. Literature luminaries would share their insights on writing, storytelling, and the power of words. Authors like Maya Angelou, Kurt Vonnegut, or Toni Morrison might grace the stage, captivating the audience with their tales and perspectives. They aim to expand students' literary horizons and encourage a deeper appreciation for the written word. In the realm of science, students would have the opportunity to listen to groundbreaking researchers, inventors, or experts in various fields. These speakers discuss discoveries, emerging technologies, and the importance of scientific literacy. Their goal was to foster curiosity, critical thinking, and a love for exploring the mysteries of the universe. Students enjoyed these events because they offered a chance to connect with the broader world beyond the campus gates. It was a unique opportunity to learn from real-world experts, engage in thought-provoking discussions, and gain valuable insights that couldn't be found in textbooks alone. Plus, it was a chance to be part of something bigger, to feel inspired and empowered to make a difference in the world. As students soak in the wisdom of renowned speakers from diverse fields, how did such experiences shape their camaraderie and leisure activities, like participating in intramural sports? Number 8. Participating in intramural sports. Back in the 1970s, college life was filled with a variety of activities that students participated in, both on and off campus. One popular pastime for college kids during this time was participating in intramural sports. These sports, such as ultimate frisbee, soccer, and basketball, provided students with a fun and less competitive way to stay active and engage in friendly competition with their peers. Intramural sports were especially popular because they offered a more inclusive alternative to varsity sports. Unlike varsity sports, which often required a high level of skill and commitment, intramural sports welcomed students of all skill levels. This meant that even those who weren't star athletes could still join in on the fun and enjoy playing sports in a relaxed and social environment. Participating in intramural sports was not only a great way to stay active and maintain physical fitness, but also provided opportunities for students to bond with their classmates outside the classroom. Whether it was joining a team with friends or meeting new people while playing a game of soccer or basketball, intramural sports offered students a chance to form connections and build camaraderie with their peers. Additionally, intramural sports provided a break from the rigors of academic life, allowing students to unwind and distress while engaging in physical activity. This was especially important during a time when college campuses were hubs of social and political activism, as students sought ways to balance their academic pursuits with extracurricular interest and leisure activities. Number 9. Engaging in environmental and sustainability movements. One popular activity that students celebrated was the first Earth Day in 1970. Students across the United States were deeply involved in sustainability initiatives and advocacy, joining hands to address pressing environmental issues. One common activity among college kids during this time was participating in rallies and protests for environmental causes. They would gather on campuses, carrying signs and chanting slogans to raise awareness about pollution, deforestation, and other ecological concerns. These gatherings often drew large crowds, reflecting the widespread interest in and commitment to environmental protection among young people. Another popular activity was organizing cleanup events. College students took it upon themselves to clean up local parks, beaches, and rivers, demonstrating their dedication to preserving natural habitats and combating pollution. These cleanup efforts not only helped improve the environment, but also fostered a sense of community and collective responsibility among students. Additionally, college kids in the 1970s often engaged in educational initiatives to promote sustainability. They organized workshops, seminars, and film screenings to educate themselves and others about environmental issues and solutions. These educational efforts played a crucial role in raising awareness and inspiring action among young people. Furthermore, many college students in the 1970s actively supported and volunteered with environmental organizations and NGOs. They participated in tree planting campaigns, lobbied lawmakers for environmental legislation, and fundraised for conservation projects. By getting involved with these organizations, college kids contributed to broader environmental movements and made a tangible impact on environmental policy and action. As students in the 1970s rallied for environmental causes and organized cleanup events, their global awareness grew. Let's explore what it was like to study abroad back then. Number 10. Studying abroad. One popular trend among college students was participating in study abroad programs. These programs saw a significant increase during this time, offering students the chance to travel and study in various countries across Europe, Asia, and Latin America. It was a time when young people eagerly seized the opportunity to broaden their academic and cultural horizons through international experiences. Before the 1970s, study abroad programs for American college students typically followed a general education liberal arts model, which had been established earlier in the 1920s by institutions like the University of Delaware and Smith College. However, as the decade progressed, significant shifts occurred in international involvement, U.S. higher education, and the interest of college students, leading to changes in the aims, programs, and participants of study abroad initiatives. The traditional model of sending mainly female students to Western Europe for an academic year to learn foreign languages and cultures began to evolve. Moreover, the demographic composition of the United States evolved, with a growing Hispanic population and English becoming the dominant global language, reducing the emphasis on learning foreign languages during study abroad programs. Additionally, the perception of studying abroad shifted from being mainly for students at private colleges to being seen as essential for all students preparing for international careers, given the global dimensions of most professions. This change reflected the recognition that global perspectives and experiences were becoming integral components of success in various fields. Number 11. Frequenting coffee houses and poetry slams. In the 1970s, college kids across the U.S. found themselves drawn to the cozy ambiance and intellectual atmosphere of coffee houses that dotted campuses or were located nearby. These coffee houses weren't just spots to grab a cup of joe. They were bustling hubs of cultural exchange and creativity. Inspired by the burgeoning cafe culture that swept the nation during this time, students frequented these establishments for more than just a caffeine fix. These coffee houses became vibrant centers for deep conversations, spirited debates, and engaging poetry readings. It wasn't uncommon to find students huddled together over steaming mugs, discussing politics, philosophy, literature, and social issues late into the night. One of the most popular events at these coffee houses was the Poetry Slam. These gatherings provided a platform for aspiring poets to share their work and for audiences to immerse themselves in the spoken word. The atmosphere was electric as poets poured their hearts out, addressing themes ranging from love and heartbreak to societal injustices and personal struggles. Alongside poetry readings, acoustic music performances added to the cultural richness of these spaces, with talented musicians strumming guitars or playing other instruments to captivate audiences. Despite the evolution of coffee shop culture since the founding of the United States coffee houses before the American Revolution, the essence of these spaces as havens for intellectual exchange and artistic expression remained constant, leaving an indelible mark on the college experience of the 1970s. Number 12. Browsing through card catalogs in the library. College students had a vastly different experience when it came to researching information in the library compared to today's digital age. One of the common activities every college kid did back then was browsing through card catalogs. These were large cabinets filled with index cards containing information about the library's collection of books and journal articles. Unlike today's digital databases, where you can type in keywords and instantly find relevant materials, researching in the 1970s meant physically searching through these card catalogs. The library card catalog was considered one of the most versatile and durable technologies of its time. Most libraries utilized some form of a shelf list or bound catalog to organize their collections. However, these catalogs had limitations. While the titles were listed in the order they appeared on the shelf, they lacked efficient methods for searching by author or subject. This made it challenging for students to find specific resources quickly. Despite its drawbacks, the card catalog provided an essential access point to the library's materials. It allowed students to search for books and articles based on title, author, or subject, and was a significant advancement in the information retrieval. For college kids in the 1970s, mastering the use of the card catalog was essential for successful research projects and academic endeavors. As college students navigate the labyrinth of card catalogs, how they'll channel their creativity in the realm of DIY music and art shows? Let's find out. Number 13. Attending DIY music and art shows. Students embrace a do-it-yourself mentality in various forms of expression, including music gigs, art shows, and theater productions. These events weren't just about entertainment. They reflected the countercultural spirit of the time. Music gigs were often organized by students themselves, taking place in small venues on or near campus. Similarly, art shows were a common feature on college campuses, providing a platform for students to showcase their artistic talents. These shows range from traditional exhibitions and galleries to more unconventional displays in outdoor spaces or makeshift venues. Students explored various mediums, from painting and sculpture to performance art and multimedia installations, pushing the boundaries of artistic expression and challenging societal norms. Theater productions were another staple of college life in the 1970s, with students taking on roles both on stage and behind the scenes. These productions range from classic plays to avant-garde performances, tackling themes relevant to the era such as social justice, identity, and political activism. Students poured their hearts and souls into these productions, using theater as a tool for self-expression and cultural critique.